Hi. When I first started thinking about doing this YouTube, it, I put out just a little poll on Facebook for my friends to help me with what a hashtag was that I could use. So the first one I had in my mind was actually the hashtag not an option. But then I tend to do this. I overthink things. And so I came up with all these other hashtags. So I put my top, I think, like 5 hashtags out there. And it was fun to see what people voted for. And I really appreciated the people that didn't just vote, but told me why they voted for what they did, because that really helped me clarify what it was that I was going for and which hashtag I would select. So I did end up going with not an option, even though I liked some of the others, and it was close in the numbers. Not an option did win. But what really got me was when someone said that they liked that one because it sounded like it was coming from someone who meant business. And I mean business. To take on an adventure like a YouTube or put my mind to it and finish in a book that was sitting there for a while, I needed to tell myself, okay, it's not an option not to do it. And so that is what brought about this YouTube. I've had certain things placed on my heart that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing to move forward, to try to reach more people, because my whole goal is to encourage, to form some sort of community, especially in the times that we're in right now, where there's so much turmoil, there's illness, there's people fussing and fighting about things. I want to think of things that we can all maybe agree on, learn from, bond over, that are positive, not bonding over negative things. So that is my end goal. Is just reaching people, feeling like there's a community, feel like I'm putting something positive out there, maybe encouraging even just one person. This is my end goal. In my office at work, I have a little sign that I just wrote in chalk that is something I say to my students. Begin with the end in mind. Before you ever begin thinking, what is that end result I'm going for? What is this all about? What is that goal that I'm striving for? Because I need to know those things before I take that first step. And then I can start taking the correct steps to reach that end result. So this is what I thought about before I ever started this YouTube channel. And so, like I said, my end result that I am hoping for is community, connection, encouragement. To reach any end result, we've got to be committed. And I find that it's easier for me to make commitments to other people, to my work, to my family, to friends, than to myself. And so I had to tell myself, this is something I want to do. I think it's going to benefit others, but it's also benefiting me. I feel like when I'm taping these, I try to imagine people that I know are popping up on my Not an Option page, so I know they're there. People that I've seen liking the YouTubes. These are faces that I plant in my mind as I'm doing this, because I know at least they're there, but I know there are other faces of people I may not even know, that may end up watching this, stumble across it by accident, or have someone refer them to it. And that is what makes me come here every weekend and do one of these. So I may have an end result, but to make my commitments stick, I think it's so very important to make sure that I think on a daily level, not like down the road in a year, I hope, ... I need to think, what can I commit to today on this given day, and make it realistic, make it something I can reach. And same for you, whatever those hashtags are that you have in your mind for this year about not an option, think about it in a small scale. Take on a little piece so that you stay committed to actually accomplishing them. If you think about the big picture, sometimes it gets too overwhelming and you think you have a bad day, for instance, on whatever it is that you're trying to do, or maybe not to do. For me, it is sticking to my low-fat diet. So I have to tell myself, okay, I have to think every day, this is what I'm going to eat. My son just celebrated his birthday recently. I knew we were going out to a restaurant I love. I love their rolls, and I'm not eating bread. But I knew I was gonna want a roll. And so I let myself have that roll, but it was based on what else I had done that day, that week, to be able to have the roll, not feel guilty, and enjoy the stinking roll. So give yourself little steps that you're gonna be able to look back at and say, good job. And you know, the neat thing about giving yourself those little goals and telling yourself, good job, is you start to trust yourself better. So you start seeing, oh, I'm really making these changes, or I'm really going for this goal. For me, another thing this year is I started grad school. First day, first 2 assignments, I complete them. I felt so good about what I'd written, and we had just an instant blip in our Wi-Fi and they were gone. Had not been saved, were gone. And I cried. I cried hard. And I thought to myself, I don't have to do this. Why am I putting myself through this? I'm not gonna do it. And then I heard that little hashtag in my head, not an option to give up, Devon. You are doing this. And so yes, while they were fresh, while it was fresh in my mind, I tried to recreate those 2. They weren't word for word what I'd written before, but I pulled it off. And I knew I couldn't sleep that night anyway, so I stayed up late. I got them done and got them safely saved. I learned a lesson, and then sent them. And you know what? It was really rewarding when both of my professors each sent me my grade, got the full score on both, and said such encouraging words to me about my first offerings to them. And so I'm going for it. And so these are the things you have to, like, trust that you're going to stay committed to whatever it is you've said you're going to do. You're going to have things that happen, blips that happen, but you have to keep moving forward. So along with making yourself feel good and trusting yourself, you'll also show others that you're accountable. So maybe it will help at work. Maybe it will help with friends, with your family. They'll see, oh, she really means what she's saying. She's really doing what she said she was going to do. Maybe you'll inspire someone else to go for it. I know people have inspired me, and I've watched them make a commitment to whether it's health or education or bettering just their life in general, going for something that they've dreamed about for a long time. When I see that, I'm inspired, and it makes me think, okay, they're doing it, I can do this too. My thing is going to be different than their thing. I'm going to do it differently, but puts a little fire under me. And you know what? The more you make commitments to yourself and keep them, the more you'll appreciate your self-worth. The more you'll believe in yourself, the more you'll see what your worth truly is. So just like if you had a company and you have to do inventory, same thing with our commitments. We need to do an inventory on them. We need to see if they're realistic, how we're doing on them. Make sure that we're not making too many commitments, and that we're not making them in haste. And make sure that you're balancing life, family, friends, work, that you've got a healthy balance in all the things that you are doing. And there will be times that you need to go back and review commitments that you've made. Just because you said yes 20 years ago to something doesn't mean it may be a yes for today. So don't stay stuck in something that you committed to that, and I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about, like, maybe you said yes to being on the PTA and now your kids aren't even in school and you're still on that PTA. Just think about where your commitments are and do they line up with where you are today? And reevaluate, because you can't say yes to something new if you've got too many old yeses that you're still letting hold you back. So I mentioned earlier how we tend to sometimes maybe look at the big goal when we need to zone in a little bit more on the day-to-day. So give yourself day-to-day goals. Like, okay, today, if I'm writing a new book, today I'm gonna write for 20 minutes. That's very attainable. And so I can give myself that goal. And if it's a health thing, today I'm going to go take a walk. Today I'm going to only eat this many calories. I'm going to drink this much water. Today I'm going to call one friend because I need to stay in touch with my friends. Just give yourself very manageable goals and make them daily goals that can lead to a bigger goal. And then it's like your path is your goal. So the path that you're on, the path that you're taking, those daily steps, making those daily goals, all of it is leading to that big goal. I do this with my students as an example. They get a big sheet of paper, like that kind that you roll out, and we put it up on the wall. And I like to show them where they've come from, because if we look back and think about where we've been and where we are, that can make us feel good. So I like to show them, okay, you were back here, and look, you went from graduating in high school to now you're a college student. And then what is your end goal? Well, my class is employee-based, so their end goal is getting a specific job. But I love to show them where they're working 3 internships. So they're getting those jobs and accomplishing those goals. And all of that is leading up to this big goal over here. And so it's fun throughout the year for them to put another little strike on the paper and show, wow, I accomplished this internship, got a good review, and now this intern site wants me. I got this intern site after I went and had a good interview. So all these things encourage them. They see where they've been, where they are, where they're going. Same for us. We can think back about where we've been, maybe even challenges that you had in the past that you have overcome. A bad job, but you got a good skill there, and where you are now, and you can be thankful for. So these are important things to do. I want to encourage you that anytime you have a negative thought come into your mind about you and your worth, I want to ask you to do something. I want you to take a breath and I want you to challenge that thought, because it's gonna happen. You're gonna, if I'd gone to the restaurant and I'd had 5 rolls instead of 1 roll, I would have been kicking myself later. So would my stomach. But if I do a blunder at work, I have a negative thought come through my mind. But if you will stop as soon as it happens, take that breath and challenge that thought, you can create so much more positivity in these goals that you're striving for. So I'll give you a good example. I could say, or have the thought come through my mind, I'm not good enough to do these YouTubes. But I can challenge that thought with, I am learning about doing YouTubes. I may not be the best yet, may never be the best, but it is something important to me, and it is worth me trying to do the best I can, to learn all that I can about it, and to reach the goal of encouraging others and being someone that others feel is approachable and authentic. So stay on those commitments, make those commitments, think what your hashtag or hashtags are for this year. And just remember, whatever goal you're going for, whatever dream you're dreaming, take your own pace. Don't worry about what others are doing in the other lane. You stay in your lane, stay focused on where you're going and how you're getting there based on you and what's important to you, and keep on moving. And just remember, it's not an option to not make yourself an important commitment.